Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today, I am so excited to have on two 34-year-olds from Etobicoke and Mimico, Ontario, Canada. Their hockey journeys have taken them to Canada, the USA, Wales, Scotland, England, and Malta. One returns to the shed after episode 6, and 175 have combined for 1,505 goals, plays, or listens. The other makes her shed debut, but she has been here in person and also ran a muck of Cardiff Met like yours truly. And they became champions with yours truly back in 2015 and our Cardiff Devils when we won the Challenge Cup. And they also won it all with the Telford Tigers. And that was the first time in history a fella hovering around 300 pounds put up 50 goals in any league anywhere, folks. Also for fun that season, put up 12 goals and 18 points in 8 playoff games. Confirmed gamer. But they're best known for getting hitched and becoming the Clarksons 8 years ago when we dominated the dance floor. And they are now running amok of parenthood since their family and the Shed family grew back in September when they welcomed Keeley Clarkson into the world. Welcome to my shed, Nicole and Doug Clarkson.
What an intro.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Wally. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for
You did take a
staying
breath.
up late as new parents, eh? Got to be late for you guys because it feels late for me.
Yeah.
Oh, anything for you, Wally.
Well, so what's going on? How's sleep going? How old's this kid now?
She is 10 and a half months now.
Holy moly.
She's,
And I still
yeah,
haven't met her.
I know, it's crazy.
It is
But
crazy.
yeah, time's flying.
Yeah, you should,
She's
you
been
guys,
amazing.
I get into how we know each other. Geez, we spent a lot of time together, and then, hockey, you get into the real world stuff and your own routines. And then it's been some time since we've seen you.
It has,
It
yeah.
has been. Well, then COVID,
Yeah.
Ugh,
That was weird, man.
Yeah.
weird time. Yeah, but, I get into how we know each other. You guys are some of the only guests of the shed that have actually been to the shed, right?
Yes. Yes, we have been.
Yeah, it was like before the shed was the shed. You were here.
For the shed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was like summer
And we made
2018.
we made dinner on the fire out there.
Yeah.
That's
You had
right.
was it the Cardiff Devils grill?
That's right. And
For
actually,
fire, yeah.
fun fact behind all this stuff is
Love to hear it.
when a neighbor, a very nice fella, you call them shed guys, but a very nice fella just randomly one day said, "Are you home?" And I say, "Yup." And he just comes and drops off a stainless steel Cardiff Devils logo for the top of my fire pit in the backyard. Never asked for it, just out of the goodness of his heart. He knew the Devils meant a lot to me when I was out of the game and had moved here, and he just shows up with that someday. And then we cooked that weekend. You came on it, and I posted something about the Devils, and you get the flames going through the devil head and everything. Like, it's pretty cool. And then that Twitter moment was like what re-engaged me with all the fans over there. And next thing you know, they're having a Wally night, right? I think it started with the fire pit.
Me too.
So
I agree.
we had something to do with that then.
Yeah.
You guys had something to do with it, and so did my neighbor, right? Good
Shout
stuff.
out to the neighbor.
Yeah. But anyways, and Doug, you were episode 6. That's also a long time ago.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
We've only put in 300 since then.
I know. When you started reading it, I was like, yeah, that's a long time ago.
It is. So I guess I've been doing this for a long time, but you know what? I still think it's fun.
Oh yeah. Love hearing them. Love seeing the guys you have on.
Yeah, and you get to reconnect and catch up, just like I get to do with you guys now.
100%.
What's funny, Wally, is Keeley hasn't met you personally yet, but she has heard your voice.
That's awesome. Love
But
to hear
she's
it.
gonna recognize the voice
Yeah.
when she sees you.
She thinks
And I have seen babies, just so you guys know, in 2 Ales and Hockey Tails onesies. So like those are possibilities, just so you know. We can get things made up. And like the first time I ever saw a baby in a 2 Ales and Hockey Tails onesie nearly made my heart explode.
That's pretty
So,
cool.
It is cool. And yeah, Doug, it started like way back in episode 6, talking to donkeys like you, right?
Exactly.
So how we know each other, I guess the first time we ever met Nicole was the day like every devil on the new roster flew in on the same flight.
Yeah, Toronto Pearson.
Yeah.
Couldn't
remember walking
believe how
through and-
big Doug's head was. I sat behind him on the plane, and I don't know these new guys, and his head was over the seats, like he couldn't even rest his head on the seat because it was so
No.
high.
Well,
And
your son Colby
it-
kept looking over at him.
well, thank goodness that the little screens are on the back of the chairs now, because if we all watch one TV up at the front, nobody's looking past your head,
No.
Doug.
No, it's an affliction I suffer with, Wally, and I'm too big to fit in places and airplanes and
You know, speaking of his head, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really thankful that our daughter was like small.
normal sized.
When
Is that right? She has a normal
Right.
sized head. I was worried.
Oh yeah. She's pretty small.
she was only 6'12" when she was born.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even now she's like so small features.
Yeah.
Well, and it's
Which kind of-
interesting, right, Doug? Because your brother Dave, like, he's not small, but he's not like
No,
not
he's
like
like
you.
5'11".
He's like a normal sized guy.
He's like 6'5", 5'11". Yeah.
Yeah, and
normal.
like his sister Candace is tiny too
Yeah,
for
like
a woman.
5'4",
So yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, and I get it now. We know each other, I guess, right? Is when you guys did come to Concord, and I think you've came twice, because one time you just came for the day with your parents, right? And they're normal size too.
Yeah, they are normal. But yeah.
Huh.
I don't know what to tell you, science.
Genetic.
It's weird how things sometimes just don't add up, right? When all of a sudden there's a gigantic kid. But when we did come, is part of that is around here. Most of our listeners here in the shed are in the UK, and there is a Kincardine in Scotland. I've found out. Obviously, this is a Scottish settlement, and when you guys came up, you have Scottish background. Did we not go to the Scottish festival and check things out, or were we? What was going on that week? Yeah.
Yeah, we did in town. Yeah, it was Main Street.
I think so.
It was like Block Main Street in Kincardine, and yeah, we went with you guys there, and yeah, it was pretty good. It was fun.
Yeah, it makes it a small world, right? When the people that are listening are from like the actual Scotland. And I always grew up going to the Scottish Fest, and like it all didn't really seem that real, the Scotland thing and Scotland and all of it. And then next thing you know, I'm eating like deep fried chocolate bars with you outside the Fife Arena, right, Doug?
That's it. Oh yeah, getting heckled, slamming some chippy on the way.
Those fans could heckle in Fife, couldn't they?
Oh yeah, I loved it there. That was awesome.
It's a small world because Doug works. Don't you have a sergeant that's 5'5"?
Yeah, one of my new bosses at my station is from like the Fife side of just past Fife. So we used to go to the Fife games and stuff.
I've learned so much in my shed. It's actually the Kingdom of Fife, and the town's called Kirkcaldy. Who knew, eh?
That's it.
Yeah. Things you learn in your shed, right? Talking to donkeys.
That's it.
Anyways, and other ways we know each other, Nicole, I patted the intro. We ran a muck at Cardiff Met back in the day, right? You were
We did.
working and I was getting educated, right?
Yep.
Trying to get educated.
Got really educated that year, Doug.
Yeah.
What were you doing again? You like worked your way up within, like, I remember it was like one calendar year. You went from being like an admin girl to like being the dean's assistant or something.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. I was there for just under 8 months, and like within the first month and a half, I got bumped to being the assistant to the dean of business management.
And they were managing good business. Look at me, folks, right?
Yes.
That's it.
And Doug was our chauffeur some days, right? He would come
I
pick
was,
us up.
yeah. I was a driver. I was a drop off.
Fun times though. Eh?
It was
It's
like
so-
dad dropping us off
Yeah.
at school.
You guys have a good day.
Yeah. We'll get you at the end of the day, kids. Have fun.
Sure, you have your lunch.
Yeah. Anyways, that was fun times. So good school. I always enjoyed my time at the Met. They had a nice little bar lunch area too, right? Did you ever hit the bar
Yeah.
with you didn't hit it with Kumar and Marcy and I though, did you? You were too busy working.
Yeah, I had to be professional.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't. We were just students. We were just college kids. Okay. Doug, other ways we know each other. That season, we were bus roommates. What do you call it? We sat beside each other on the bus.
Yeah, we're like seatmates. Yeah,
Seatmates. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That may, you know what's interesting about that though, that you were my bus mate, is that was my favorite year of hockey. I think when I look back
Yeah.
at all of them, that was up there for best years ever.
Oh, me too. Yeah, most fun, good group, and yeah, it was always fun on the bus having laughs. But always
Sure
great.
was. And then you get Carl Hudson involved, right? And it can make a bus trip really fun.
Oh yeah, a couple beers deep, and Carl's the life of the party.
Yeah. And hockey was hockey when we got on that bus, right? That was as
Yeah.
fun as it got. Game of
100%.
Schnarples, right?
Oh yeah, all night.
Yeah. I'd sleep all the way to the game. Like from wherever we started till we got there, I'd sleep. And then I'd be ready for you guys after, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's after. Yeah.
Okay. Other ways we know each other. We went on a big trip. This was my career-ending family trip with the Clarksons. We flew into Malta and then went to Gozo, eh?
Yeah.
That seems like a long time ago.
It really does seem like when you said that photo, it seemed like it was like
It
super long time ago.
it feels like it was a long time, but at the same time, it feels like it was like only 2 years ago.
Well,
Like,
and
it's-
like it's weird
Easy.
though, because once you get like out of hockey,
Yeah.
that part of your life seems like so long ago. But now that like I have all the memories flooding back and I'm talking to people in my hockey world again, that time doesn't seem as long ago now. Those 5-6 years where I was totally out of the game, it all seemed like a lifetime ago, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good trip though. I had a lot of fun that trip.
So Doug, it says you're 6'5", and well, what are we weighing in at these days? You actually look thinner than you were there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was gonna ask if you were gonna ask me that.
I'm not gonna I'm a realist. I'm only gonna chirp with what I see. And last time I saw you in the shed, geez, you had to have been tipping 300.
There was a couple.
Do you
of
got
times
it
there
cleaned
was
up to about a 270 now or what?
Yeah, I'd probably go 275 now. Yeah,
Attaboy.
I want to get back to like 250 though. But
Really, eh?
yeah,
I actually went through the depression weight too there after hockey and got like even fat for me, you know,
which is big.
right? Yeah.
What are you weighing in now?
Oh, I don't weigh myself anymore, Doug.
You just stopped?
Yeah, those days are over.
More
But
of a vision.
I'd say I'm
Second
high 180s, Doug, a healthy high 180s. Okay, serious.
That helped you sleep at night, Wally.
It's true. But hey, so when we went on that trip, so I was getting at, you're 6'5" and 300 pounds. Nicole, do you remember how scared of geckos he was?
Yes. Colby was getting. Oh, Colby was so like.
He was 3.
Yeah,
He was 3 and
loved-
catching geckos, and
he
Doug
loved
wouldn't even
them.
go near them.
But he thought it was like so dumb. This big guy he's looking up to is afraid of a gecko.
I thought it was funny, right? Because now I understood why I had to protect him all hockey season.
That's it. I needed you.
Right. And like if you can't even fight a gecko, like what are we doing?
Fighting the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll never forget that moment though, when we were going down. We came out of our place, our villa, right? You'd call it. It was a nice spot.
Yeah.
But
Nice house, yeah.
there was a driveway, and it's like 6-foot walls on each side. So these geckos got nowhere to go. It's all walls. And we go as a team. The 3 of us were working in tandem, Colby, Doug, and myself. And we go down the driveway, and Doug won't come. He stays, won't go into the closed-in area, won't go into the walls. And Colby and I are working together trying to catch geckos, and Doug is literally too scared of these little baby lizards, like geckos, folks, the normal ones. He wouldn't even go down there. And then my 3-year-old catches a gecko, and Doug is dumbfounded, wouldn't even go near it.
No. They're little. They're like insects. People are scared of spiders. Like, I'm not a fan of spiders. What, are you just going to hang around or catch the spiders?
Doug, it's a
So
gecko.
what?
It's a gecko.
I know what it is.
Does
It's
Colby
for
remember
fun. I got a couple
Sure,
pictures
Wally
on my
wants to know
phone.
every day.
The
Think
part
so?
that freaked me right out though, right, is that they can drop their tails, and I had one by the tail, and it just let its tail go, right, and then all of a sudden the chase was on again. Wild times.
And you screamed and you got scared?
I didn't get scared; it just caught me off guard.
Okay.
You were scared, Doug.
I didn't go near them enough to be scared or not scared.
Nicole, I don't know. Like, I mean, he's your, big burly husband, and he's scared of a gecko, right? It's just tough, right?
And like he goes into certain situations at work being a police officer and he's scared of a gecko. And I'm like,
Right. Doesn't add up. Doesn't add up. Right. I don't mind math, but that doesn't add up.
Scared of her. So,
oh, sorry, Wally, did you hear that?
no. Next.
Okay. Speaking of next, then I didn't hear that was that trip there. One of our games was the song game. We'd go around the circle and all pick songs. And I think I have great taste in music. I'm sure everybody that follows me on Insta thinks my music's awesome. And you guys would boo me. Horrible, right?
And
I don't know. I think my taste in music's great.
I think you do. I think you do believe that. I think the critics have their
Well,
own opinions.
the
You're
other
correct.
part of that trip I remember is you were the first person I saw with like a GoPro or whatever they're called, and you were like swimming and everything with it on, and the kids were around. I always curious what happened to that footage,
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. We have it somewhere.
Yeah, we do have that. Yeah, I just saw it actually
Yeah.
recently.
Well, anyways, that
Yeah.
trip, because in your hockey world, you connect with certain people, and you guys, we obviously connected with, but then that season we did that, you guys had played in Dundee. And
Yeah.
what I think's so neat is that you guys are parents now, because that trip, when a couple comes with your 2 little ones, and you guys volunteered to come on a trip with our little kids when they were little and deal with all that ruckus, I could tell how good of parents you guys were going to be, and it just fills my heart with joy. You guys are now,
Thanks, Wally.
Oh, thanks, Wally.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to do a redo now that we have a
Nikki,
little
I'll say nice things to you
Yeah.
still, but I'm done with Doug. Nothing else nice the rest of the night. But yeah, like that trip, I could see it and how much fun my kids had, and it was a great cherry on top for the end of my career to go on a trip like that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, that trip. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Anywho, Malta was, or Gozo, that little island, Doug? The driving
Yeah.
around there was pretty interesting, eh? You were a bit nervous, like you were around a gecko with the driving, weren't you?
No, I was good. I'm a pretty good driver.
Remember how tight some of those streets were?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah.
I think it just forces you over there to get good at driving. Even in the UK, how tight everything was and wrong side. And
For some people.
yeah, first day, her and Marty made me learn the hard way how to drive over there. So
No, what about me and Dundee getting pulled over for
Oh, yeah.
driving on the wrong side?
Did you drive on the wrong side of the road?
Well, they gave us an automatic, so like just for in case Nicole wanted to drive and stuff like that, and I'll let you tell the rest of it.
What'd you do?
Doug was out of town for a road game. And I
Like right when he
was,
started.
yeah, it was really early on in the season. I think it was only preseason stuff.
Yeah, someone in preseason.
And I was driving to go meet up with another wife on the team, and I went on the wrong side. So I got pulled over. Very nice cop. Knew I wasn't from there, obviously, my accent. So he asked what I was doing there, and I told him my husband's there to play ice hockey, and he asked for the name, and he let me go. Huge fan that I ended up seeing him at every home game. And he would always make sure, did you get here safe?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so when you're driving on the wrong side of the road and you're at the wheel, did you not find it weird that you're like on the curb instead of the middle of the road? I always was like, it's confusing and it's really weird. I found it the hardest to go to the right side of the car to get in. I would always go to the normal side and then I'd open the door and there'd be no steering wheel.
Oh yeah.
But once I started driving, I'd be like, well, I got to be in the middle of the road as the driver, right? I can't be on the curb, but
I think what got me is like I was looking directions on my phone and I was driving. So I was trying to do two things at once in a new place. But
right.
you know what? No one got hurt, thankfully, and
That's right.
I had a very nice cop.
I like even at the I remember Kiefer whenever he'd come home before I got over there, actually before that year, was he'd always like I picked him up like one of the first times he got back for the summer and like went to skate and he's like full panic in the front seat of the car, like thinking I'm on the wrong side of the road. And I was like thinking to myself, like, what's wrong with you? But then once we would come back,
It's an adjustment, isn't it?
myself, like 2 weeks, I'm like, oh my god, am I on the left or like right? Like driving on the road. So I totally get how it takes a few weeks to get just like driving every day to get used to it again.
Well, it does. And same with like going to Germany and like you get on the Autobahn and it's just like people follow the rules and like the fast people are going on the left lane and the slow people are on the right lane. Then you get back to Canada and people are just doing whatever they gosh darn want, you know?
Yeah. No rules.
No rules. Just go. It's like it's like Mario Kart out there. But, I guess we need police officers to keep that in line, eh, Doug?
Okay, so
Okay, anyways, let's see here. Where and what are you doing now?
Me?
But yeah, we'll start with you.
Well, right now I'm on maternity leave. I've been working at Conestoga College for about 6 years now. I started there as a mid person as well, and then I moved up to coordinator. So now I'm running the student fees department.
Jeepers. Well, that's pretty. Yeah, you did the same thing like you did at the Met, right? Ran amok.
Exactly.
And small world is I have attended classes at Conestoga College when I was still in Elmira Sugar King.
Oh, no
And I
way.
had my scholarship. You could take part-time classes where they could transfer over to Western Michigan.
Yeah.
I attended Conestoga College part-time. Yeah.
I wonder if
Oh,
you include this photo.
I know.
Have to get that. Did they give you a card?
I don't know. I just attended the classes and left. You know, wasn't into the whole thing, Doug. Doug, where and what are you doing now?
To Halton Police in May of this year, so a few months ago now, 3 months. From Toronto.
So is that like asking for a trade like in hockey? Did you feel bad for your teammates' sake?
No, not at all. Did not feel bad one bit.
No.
There's just like most people live out here. Like a lot of police officers in Toronto don't live in Toronto. A lot have a plan going in beforehand that they're gonna transfer out wherever they're from, kind of thing. But
they're putting in their time to get their seniority to get out of there.
Kind of, but like it's up to a point too, because you don't want to wait too long, and then if you get promoted, that doesn't transfer over. So there's just like a time to do it. And I honestly was like waiting. I actually did my some training with Hoth. We did it together. We work on the same shift. We did in Toronto, so we got to do some detective stuff together, which was a lot of fun. And then I was actually hoping for like maybe another year or two just to see what I can do in Toronto downtown and everything. And then once Keeley was born and like I was on pat leave, I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to work like to Toronto for the drive commute every day for the schedule. Like
I find it so interesting that you and Hoth like worked like right with each other and have been, because like that team was a bunch of legends, but like it's such a small world. I was just roommates with him at Batchy's testimonial.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy
to say that Ash and I got them back together.
Yeah,
because it was my conversation with Ashley that we were just chit-chatting one day, and she told me how Andrew is like started with Toronto Police in the
Yeah,
Sun.
he's just finishing his like interview stuff with Toronto.
Yeah, so I was telling Doug about it, and then that's when he connected with Andrew, and
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny because like, yeah, we worked in the same shifts like since I got on, and we were partners in the detective's office for like 6 months, and
And
so
I
I guess
just posted a
every day.
picture of us like scoring a goal together in
Yeah.
in like Coventry, England. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm with Halton now. Like I said, it's just I'm the station. I'm in Burlington, and it's like 3 minutes from the house. So like
How different is the police work from downtown
it's
Toronto?
different.
Yeah,
Oh,
it would
yeah,
be.
there's a lot of different things. Like policing is the same everywhere, but just the volume of calls is different. There's not as many. There's like we don't have as many officers as Toronto, but there's also not as many calls and enough different calls, serious violent stuff. But
Yeah. So
still
how
have everything.
so when you went in for do you have to do interview to get transferred to Halton? Did
Yeah.
they ask you about your hockey resume? What's the squad like out in Halton? Because I've seen these police teams. I know how you guys hire.
Man, it's shocking though, but like there's there's probably more guys that played pro in Halton than Toronto. And like I think we have like 700 cops maybe in Halton, and Toronto is like 6,000. But there's like a ton more that actually played, and I never knew until I got here. Like guys were messaging me, like Mike Folks played Manchester against us and stuff like that. Played in the coast for a bit. Evan Zick would play us in junior. Sullivan's another guy, older guy.
So
And
are
then
you even
Rich
making the
Vanilla came
top
here.
team or what? Is that why you're trying to cut weight is so you can stay on the top team?
No, I'm trying to start with. They don't have a top team here yet. I'm trying to start one with Richie Brunella,
Oh, Richie Bernilla.
trying to get a team going. Some of the other guys that played. So
Are you gonna tell him to get in the shed already?
I told him. I'll tell him again.
Yeah, me and him marched with the Landsuit Cannibals right to the finals. Shocked the world and came a goal away from winning it my first year in Germany.
I'll let him know that. I'll let him know that you want him on.
I sure do. He's a beauty. Yeah. And you know what? When you get over to Europe and you're a young guy that doesn't really know what's up, you need guys like him to teach you what's up. And he did.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's with Halton Police. Obviously, he's up in Milton. He
Well,
was
he's
with
a
Toronto
beauty.
as well.
They
He
got
left
good
Toronto.
hiring practices around there, eh?
Oh yeah, Halton's it's a good stuff here.
So are you guys living out there then? Where are you living now?
Yeah, Burlington.
Burlington.
Yeah.
So then you travel to Conestoga College and you're going to Halton.
Yeah. Like I go to, it's like 3 minutes for me to the station every day, but Nicole's still on pat leave, so or mat leave.
I've been
Right.
doing COVID, so now like I'll be able to work remote majority of the time.
That's awesome. What a setup, eh?
They're gonna open up a campus in Milton, so I'm gonna do a transfer.
So it's all worked out then, eh? Isn't I've talked to so many people about this. Like the guys just getting out of the game, the guys with like 3 years left, maybe, the guys that like have been out for some time. Like the transition out of hockey is not easy.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
it's definitely like difficult for
Well, for everybody,
For-
really. It's not,
yeah, for
it is
everybody.
for the guys, that's been our identity and what we've been doing, and like made us who we were. And then you're lost that way, but then also like for the wives, they've been, part of it too, and they are moving home too. And, everybody's trying to just figure out what the hell's going on now, right?
yeah. Yeah, especially when it's like such a big part of your life. And
That's
like
all
you said,
know.
yeah, like I never really worked like a normal job. This is all I've ever done. So it's hard for even guys that like, play junior, play stuff like that. Like, it's difficult for them to figure out what they want to do. But even for guys like that play in the Costa America League to Europe, like we did, like even guys I think that play in the show and have a long career and stuff like that, like when they're done, they can have as much money as they want and can. They don't need for anything, but it's still like there's nothing like really keeping you on that day to day of.
Well, and you also go from having your 20 teammates that you
Yeah.
mess around with and joke around with, and then all of a sudden that next fall you don't have that, and it's like you go through the summer and everything's normal like it always was, but then come that next hockey season when everybody leaves and you see all the seasons starting without you, and
Yeah.
you don't have anybody around you.
Yeah.
Like you don't have those guys to shoot the shit with every day and talk about whatever we would talk about. It's a hard adjustment, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And like there's no like I said, like it doesn't matter what you have, how long you've played, where you played kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely hard on, like you said, the guys, but also like the wives, the families, because they're gonna have to pick up as well and move, and they have to deal with you and like how you get and stuff like that. So I'm sure it wasn't the easiest, but there's still like um um what
Well, like,
uh,
and Doug, you know what? I think we're in the tree. We're in the honest tree here. I mean, it doesn't matter because I went through my hard time and I look at pictures of myself when I first came back and I was lost and I got my two little kids. Wife can't work in Canada. And it's like, holy shit, am I in one? And I had always been a hockey guy and I was in a new town and I'm trying to figure it all out. I had a very hard time, but like then I get a job and I'm doing it and like, everything looks like it's supposed to, but it's like going to work and doing 40 hours of sitting there and then they don't pay you like when you used to do what you love. Um,
yeah,
and you're back to being the fourth liner, the third liner, and you see all your buddies that are the same age as you that have worked their way up while you've been playing hockey, and that's not
yeah,
easy to see all them where they're at and you're starting out fresh. But like it was extremely hard, and like it looks like everything's great for me, but like I was having a hard time even once I got a job and I'm doing it. It was like, holy moly, like I'm not really enjoying my life that much, other than my kids and my wife and the family side. But then like Nicole did reach out and she was like, can you talk to Doug? Like he's having a hard time. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't even know what to say because I'm having my own hard time,
yeah.
And then we'd have a few FaceTimes, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it's crazy because you don't even think about it, and like there's nothing that could like fix it or
Yeah.
Well, I think too, because like for us, for our own personal experience, I think when we knew we were going to come home, we knew like, okay, we're going to settle down and like, this is when we're going to start a family. So I think in our eyes, like we were like, okay, the next chapter, like we're going to have a family, like everything's going to be amazing. But then it took a turn to have Keeley right away. And then, yeah, Doug started missing the game more and more, that it takes a toll on the family. But I think if you have the support from that spouse, like you did with Lisa, it's
Well, it's like, but you got to have your buddies too, right? It's like the stuff
yeah,
I
yeah,
the stuff I remember were the FaceTimes with you guys. Hendo would call me.
yeah,
And there were certain others that would call and FaceTime, and like Deese was the first person to send me like a funny photo the next season, and it was like, oh, so like not everybody's forgotten about me, right?
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, there's no like, I don't watch hockey. Like I don't want to watch hockey. Like I'll like the playoffs. Like I might watch the Leafs, but like I really don't miss like watching any part of that. But um, I do think like it's the good thing with like policing or fire, which like like did before too. Like all my stuff was, it just that's the closest you can get to that like team
Yeah.
atmosphere without sitting in an office all day, because like there's no way I could handle that. Like and but even that's like still so different. It's definitely not the same. It's definitely not even close, but at least
Well,
it's like
but it is like a team
it's
thing,
something. It's
right?
something that's different than just like a regular office job. So
Well, and like
that was like a
the
big
switch
thing.
for me was like I was doing the office job, and there's different people making it the culture and what it was. And then when it all switched for me and everything was better was when I became the supervisor, and they asked me to change the culture of the department. And I got to make it my own. And, there's some roster shakeups. And,
Yeah.
we got the shed guys and gals in there that like to do well at what they're doing and make it a good culture and make it fun. And it made it like I was like kind of like coaching a hockey team, and I could make it like a hockey team where they feel good about what they're doing and they want to do good because of how they're treated and whatever. And that's what made it all better for me, was making it a team, making it like hockey. And the real world really isn't that different when you break it down into how the teams work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But anywho, I think it's neat that like Doug, when you weren't a police officer when you first got back, and you guys, it did take some time to make Keeley, and now you guys are all set up, and now it happens, and it's like, well, maybe everything worked out for a reason, right? And that like you guys are having it when life is set up and you're ready to rock, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I've always believed that timing is everything.
Yeah. And I'm just so happy for you guys when all this has happened, and I haven't even got to see her yet, Glad I have the shed though, because this is what's helped me. This is the biggest thing for me is I get to see all my friends, I get to see how they're doing, I get to be part of the game as well. It keeps me engaged, anyways, I think this is so much fun catching up with you guys tonight.
Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah.
So, haven't heard a love story in a while. How'd you two crazy kids meet? Nicole, I want to hear your side of the story.
Yes.
Well, we met first time was grade 9 food and nutrition class. Doug over here.
You couldn't believe how much food Doug could eat. I still can't believe it.
Believe it or not, he did not come to class prepared.
Shock.
He
Really?
asked to borrow a pen, and
I don't think I had paper.
no, don't think you had paper. I don't even think you had a backpack.
Probably not.
And we just became like, honestly, like really good friends, like best friends in high school. We like hung out, we talked, but we didn't really start dating until 2008.
2008.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, it was when I was finished in Erie and I was going out to my last year junior in Vaughan. It was that summer.
That summer.
Yeah. Like it was right when I got home.
So you guys had
actually
been friends since grade 9, but hadn't been dating. And
yeah, we both had different relationships.
Yeah.
And I since you brought up Erie, Doug, is I am drinking out of a Snook Stout named after Ryan O'Reilly, who I now help out on the ice with, sometimes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That was that year. It was his rookie year there.
Was that his rookie year? I saw you played with him there, eh? So
yeah, that was his first year, yeah.
Was he like a young rookie that like was already a leader? Because he's a leader being on the ice with him.
You can tell he was like a good guy, normal guy, but he was we weren't that good, but we actually surprisingly, I think we had a lot of guys that were drafted. But we had like Turcato, Luke Gazdick, Justin Hodgman, like a lot of guys that actually went on to play a lot of pro, some in the NHL, some in Europe and stuff. But he was definitely like the best player, the biggest like leader, and
yeah.
like
and you weren't there that long, but he's a beauty. Yeah, I've been
just like a normal guy. Yeah.
He is. He's a normal guy that is just a nice dude that will do anything for anybody. And he's been letting Colby come out and skate with him, and it's been
nice.
Yeah, me and Colby go out and help him out.
Show him a few things.
Yeah, just show him what's up. No, but he's a beauty, and just made me think of that when you said Erie, and I'm drinking out the Snook Stout of my old sponsor, the Bayfield Brewing Company, that used to give me free beer. What a ride that was. So anyways, You guys met in grade 9 and then you get together. So Nicole, is it not weird? You don't get that many wives on that have had to go through the whole moving overseas and everything, you know? It's pretty interesting, especially a suitcase like Doug. How often you have to move, right?
Yes. Well, started in North Bay when he went to Nipson University. Then he came home one night after history class and said, "School's not for me. I think I want to try to make it to pro." So we packed up. I moved back home with my parents. He went off to the East Coast to play for Toledo Walleye, where
With our goat.
he played
Yeah.
with Joey Martin. And then from there, he played a couple more years in the States.
Mhm.
And then that's when he decided he had an opportunity to play in Cardiff. So
And you had been at home for the time while he's in the coast and stuff, right?
when he was in the coast and then the American League for the 2-3 seasons, I stayed home living with my parents because one, it was hard for me to get a visa to work in the States.
And you didn't know where he was going to be day to day in the coast.
Yeah, like you ended up being traded at one point.
Yeah. To Trenton.
To Trenton, yeah. And then you got injured, had surgery.
Yeah.
But
I was curious how Lordo signed you to play in Cardiff, because that season before you played in 9 hockey matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that was all Kiefer, I think.
Yeah.
I think
It's-
Kiefer was the one
It's
that
nice having friends in hockey, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Kiefer was the one, and actually I think Lordo knew Nick Vitucci, my coach in Toledo, from the year or two before. So I think Lordo spoke to Todd Kelman, spoke to Kiefer and Lordo, and
Right. The
I think they
Todd
spoke to-
Kiefer. Yeah.
yeah, and then they spoke to
Release.
Vitucci, and
But I'm going to say that Lordo just needed to see the 9 games and he saw something he liked in
Yeah.
Clarkson. So
Well, I just
he
was
figured
curious
he needed
because
this big guy.
I would always be so freaked out about the next season, the next contracts and all that stuff. And
oh yeah,
when
It
you're
was-
only putting up 9 games played, you know, that's
Oh,
gotta be some anxiety.
the well, especially going there too is like when I remember when I signed, and I always bring this up to I think you and Marty every time, but like Lordo called me, I think there was 1 or 2 spots left, and it wasn't just like I was the last signing or like I was just gonna sign there to be like an extra. Like Lordo, like right away is like, yeah, like I want you to play, I want you to like fight and stuff like that, but I expect you to score and all this. So like it was all good, and I was like, okay, like we'll see, kind of thing. And then he calls me and he goes, I forgot the other guy's name was. You've played with them both. Pick one that you want to play with. And Joey Martin and I forgot the other guy's name I played with in Trenton, New Jersey.
But is it not neat what Joey's done there? Like,
Oh yeah,
like for both of us to be there that first year, and like I've been back there a couple times recently, and you see how many people are wearing Martin jerseys, but then you see how many people are playing minor hockey, and you go there and the Cardiff Junior Devils are like a minor hockey organization with all these kids. And
Yeah.
like there's so many of them that are wearing Martin jerseys. It's so cool.
So the Cardiff Devils can thank me for telling Lordo to take Joey Martin instead of.
That's right.
I honestly forgot the other guy's name, but they were both like similar players. But the one thing I told Laura, I think they both had like the same points and everything that year too. But I was like, Joey's like one of the nicest guys, like good teammate. Like he'll go for beers, but he's ready to rock, like just a solid dude. And
Yeah.
the other guy isn't, and that's why I told Laura, I was like, hockey wise, they're probably both similar, but he's such a good guy, good teammate. Like you got to take him. And
Well, that one really worked out, right? And it is interesting
Worked
how all
out, I
these
know.
guys end up the places they end up at, right?
yeah,
And a lot of the times it's the people you know. And I find it interesting that when I was playing, I didn't really know hardly anybody. Like I was at Western Michigan, I knew my Western Michigan guys. And then I went to Germany and like I didn't really know many people, but now it's way different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot more guys now leaving college because even my first year in the coast, the next year they changed the rules. So like, I think college kids are like anybody rookie in the East Coast League, they can only they put a cap. It was like $400 a week, and when you're in states that have high taxes, like guys are making shit. So
Oh,
like the next year, like when I was in the American League too, there was a lot of guys considering coming up that went to school with some of the guys on my team and that were coming up at the end of the year. And they're like, why would I could just go to Europe and make more and like get to travel and
well,
because they're
these
making it, right? So
with what guys were making in Europe when I was around, compared to what guys made at the coast on East Coast contract, it really would make a lot of sense to be in the East Coast.
yeah,
Unless you're one of those guys that owns a house where they pay the mortgage,
yeah,
or something of that nature.
yeah, which they also
Or
not
you
in
live in the
was
nicest towns going,
yeah,
right? Like South Carolina or Florida or something cool
yeah.
like that.
So like my 2 years there was like they still did that for a few guys. The older guys still had that, like they got their mortgage paid, but they also got, and it would make sense for those guys because they're winding down. They were
Yeah.
American League players, but they just happen to play in the coast now.
Yeah.
But for all the young guys coming up, a lot like everyone was just bailing. Like if they offered me that my first year, I wouldn't have gone. I probably would have gone right to Europe too.
So Nicole, when he's playing 9 games in the East Coast and he's starting with Toledo and he's leaving school, says I'm not a school guy. Did you ever doubt him at all?
No. If I doubted you, I don't think I would have like supported him as
you're
much
just
as I did.
motivating him, right? Not doubting him,
I
motivating.
I was like his huge supporter. No matter what he said or where he wanted to go play, I never said, no, we're not doing that. No, you're not going. I was just like, okay, where are we off to now? Like, where are we off to now? And when he had the opportunity to go play in Europe, I was just like, okay, well, I'm not going to stay behind. Like, this
Right.
is too much of a long distance. And I looked into getting my visa and I got it and I was able to work over there and do something for myself too, but also be there for him and support him with his hockey. And
I think it's awesome that you're able to work over there. So like we were
yeah,
very similar. Was when I said, I think I need to go to Germany for my career. And Lisa said, okay, when do we go? And she was just like,
yeah.
all right, whatever. But then you go to Germany and you can't speak German. It's pretty tough to work. That you got to go over to the Cardiff and like actually work, and that it's helped your career now and what you're doing now. That's neat, right?
Oh, it was huge because it built my resume for when I came back home. Absolutely. Um, it was, listen, I'm super grateful for the opportunity that Doug had to play over in Europe because he gave us the opportunity to travel, which we probably have never been able to do if we both just stayed behind and worked. But it was a long few years.
Well, I guess I don't want to keep hounding on this, but like there was the transition period we talked about, and then when the research team gets hot, Doug. So you play in Dundee, we go to Gozo, then you go to Telford, which is at the EPIHL, decent league, put up 50 goals at 300 pounds or so, give or take. But like, so then you come home and you're done. You play for the Brantford Blast 4 games, but then you do go back to Telford.
I knew he was going to bring it up.
But like, so you took a year off, and then you went to Telford for a year.
Yeah, so
and that's when you can't. You know what made it easier for me is that my knee went right. It took all the second guessing out of it. It was like, oh, you can't offer me contracts. I can't play. Right.
Yeah. Look, being there, it's getting hot in here.
Is it?
No,
Sorry. Are these tough questions? Am I roasting you on the grill?
This investigator light you have here and somebody inching closer to me. No, it was one of those things where I came home, I did my firefighting, and that was the plan. And then
it wasn't working.
I coached like my nephew's team, and because we built a house in Kitchener when we were still overseas in Telford. So we were there. I was coaching the Kitchener AAA team. Everything was good, but when I did speak to a few of the chiefs and stuff like that I knew of, it was in there like they couldn't get me on within a few years. It was more of like a nobody's leaving, the numbers are super low because nobody wants to retire from fire. So they have to do the minimum every year, which is like 7 at the start of the year. That's it for each thing. So they're like, it might take a few years. So I'm like, okay, I can try and like grind it out. And so I just was like working and like doing these jobs, and I was like I'm not cut out for this. Like just like manual labor, like there's zero chance like I can do this. And so without like anything else, and like I needed to make money, so I spoke to them, and obviously they wanted me back like in a heartbeat. So that was a hard conversation because I think I gave Nicole a few days, or like a week's notice. But again, it was like it wasn't it honestly wasn't really because I missed it that much as it is, because I miss it every day. Even now, I miss playing, I miss hanging out with the guys. Like I don't think they'll ever go away, but it's different now. Like I'm accepting it. Like I like my new career now and everything. I'm not like I'd never leave it, but like going back there was just like I needed to make money, because obviously we had a home now, like a new home we had built, and like that was the main reason why. It's because like I just couldn't do the manual stuff anymore, all that stuff. Like it just so happened it was easy for me because the league wasn't that good, and I could go and go put up.
I get it totally. Like I totally get it. It's like you could make the money to help pay for the house by playing hockey that you like, and you're gonna do well and enjoy it and scratch that itch. I get it. I mean,
and just have everything paid for. Like, I'll just send money every paycheck to send home, and like they pay for everything, as you know, like your house, and give me a car and all that. So like,
right, but it would be hard, right? Getting on that plane and then like leaving, and like it's weird with the firefighters and the police officers. I know is some of them it worked out just like lickety split right away, but some of my best buddies that became police officers or firefighters, there was a time when hockey ended and they got into that new role that was not easy for anybody. There are other police officers that like did all the tests, did all the courses, would get to the final interview, and like they're saying this is your last shot, you may never get it, and like this is what they had invested their life into. And then when I see all those guys get her done and be doing it, it makes me proud, yeah. Anywho, right. By the way, that season you were probably 300 pounds and you scored like 2 goals a game. I don't know what you were playing there.
I was probably about 300 pounds.
Jeepers. Do you know that you were way better offensively than people would give you credit for, eh?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I remember, actually, Nicole, you may not recall this, but Doug and I didn't really play together till near the end of the season. And we played about the last 10 games or so together, maybe. And we played a game together, and we had always been buddies, like really tight all year. And then after the game, you said to us, you were like, wow, you guys like have like really good chemistry, eh? And I still remember it because the people you have best chemistry with off the ice usually works on the ice, right?
Usually does.
Yeah.
Well, we're always on a power play together, but we never were line mates.
You guys were always in sync. I remember. Like
we could yin yang going.
No, it was good. And like everybody needs what they need to work with, right? And Doug was a good listener. He'd go where I want him to, and then he'd beat people up if they touched me. It was awesome. And then when you got to shoot, you would score. I watched some highlights, Doug. You were making plays that year. And what's interesting is those 2 seasons before, you had hardly played any hockey. You'd only had, I think it was like 5 pro goals before that season. You put up 20 that year.
You know what's crazy too was that in the American League that year, I played 9 games, whatever it was like I was the best shape of my life, because every day I would have to like we practice and everything, we'd work out, but then I'd have to stay on with like 3 other guys, and Riley Cote was our assistant coach, and he just switched to like whole food, plant based, like amazing shape, different than when he was playing a fighter. So we'd have to bag skate for like an hour and a half after the practice. Like it was ridiculous how good of a shape I was. I just when I did get to play, it was to fight or whatever. But
I
it was
just
actually a lot of fun that year, just doing that stuff. But
that was fun to you because for me,
no,
you
like it
always seem
wasn't.
like such a team guy that wants to be around the boys. And when
Oh
I was
yeah,
that guy and I got bag skate at the end of the AHL practices, I hate it because I wasn't part of the team. But hey,
yeah,
whatever you're into, I guess you're into being in shape now, eh, Doug?
yeah. I guess.
Other ways we know each other, Nicole. There's not much of a story behind this one, but we did go to a concert together out of hockey, right?
Yes, we did. Keats and Aldine.
Yeah, ran into Marshy there too, right? Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can overserve you at those places, right, Doug?
I believe
can.
someone got lost that night
Yeah.
too. that I had
Yeah.
to-
Yeah, they did get found though, right?
Yeah.
They did.
Some
They did.
34-year-old wandering around exhibition.
So yeah, you get to the city, right? You get disoriented.
I'm pretty sure I was on vote to like leave you and figure it out. Nah, he's fine. He'll figure it out.
No, I was on a mission to find you.
Nicole wanted to find you.
Right. And we
No,
did.
I don't think Lisa
And
did.
we
I think
did,
Nicole wanted
right?
to find you.
I think Doug and Lisa were ready to go back
Like,
to the
let's leave. We're
Airbnb,
getting
and
out
I
of here.
was like, no,
No.
you don't leave. You leave no man behind.
Right. But you know what, Doug? It was one of your brethren or whatever you call it, right? A police officer that found
Yeah.
me. You got me all sick. Overserved, folks. It's a thing. Can't do it to people,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Poster pictures. Keeley and Ted. He was your first one. Do they get along?
Yes.
Little sibling rivalry going on, or are they getting along?
Oh, they're getting along. Ted, yeah, Ted. We got Ted like literally 2 weeks before Doug went back to Telford. So it was just Ted. And
I
Ted.
was curious about that. So when you guys were here, Ted was here.
Yeah, so he was just over almost a year old then.
So
Yeah,
Ted, eh? He's a good dog though, eh?
great
The
dog.
best.
Great dog.
He's having a nap.
He kept me.
Oh.
He definitely kept me company. That's for sure.
Right. Well, Doug was
Yeah,
running
they're really
amok,
good
in, right?
Pardon?
When Doug was scoring 48 goals in like 20 games.
Yeah, when yep,
Yeah.
when he was back there.
So, Doug, what were you doing to score all these goals? You going end to end in that league, or like is someone setting you up?
I'm trying to think of the year that was.
I want to say it was a mixture of both because the captain there, Silverthorne, was really good to set.
Small world. He's just from down the road, the other way from O'Reilly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there was Matty Davies too.
Mm.
Was he there that year?
He's a good
before.
disher. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him play. I think he was like in Hull or something. He was a good player.
When we were in Cardiff, he was in Hull.
Yeah, he was a good player. And
Yeah.
I've heard good reviews that he is a shed guy and that he should come. I heard he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a really good dude.
Mhm.
Yeah. That first year we were in Telford, he was my centerman. We had a lot of fun, a lot of points together. So
I could see that working. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't have to get mad at you. I always find that picture so funny when I'm mad at you for not whatever you'd done. When you're trying to give me a fist bump and I'm like, don't give me try and fist bump me because your face looks like you didn't try hard enough, you know?
Yeah.
I love that picture. Anywho, next poster pic. You're in your police hockey jersey holding Keeley. So that's pretty neat. You still get to play hockey and she can come watch, eh?
Yeah, that was her first game seeing me.
Really? How'd you do?
Good one.
2 hat tricks that game.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's all right. It's actually pretty good. Like the A's, this is in Toronto. The actual like police league is actually pretty good. Like there's some, like the premier team, the team of Toronto Police is like average. The actual league is like there's a lot of guys that played junior, like could have played junior. So like there's some young guys, so it's actually like not terrible. Hoff and I obviously are like.
Have you ever fought in a police match?
I did once. Wasn't my fault.
Wasn't your
Did
fault.
once.
I
No.
never would have guessed it'd be your fault, but what'd the guy do?
No, there's a guy.
What did he do?
There was a guy last year. We ended up losing in the finals because Hoffman and I are on the same team.
Oh dear.
There
And
was
you
this
guys got
guy, he was
competitive
this,
and
no,
Andrew
no,
started
he's just this like
chirping.
big guy, and he was just like kind of like being a dick and like chirpy and whatever. So this year again, like I think you know me, like I don't really take it seriously. Like we're not really trying out there, but we're gonna win. And so Hoff and I are like we're out there playing, and this guy comes in the corner, same guy, and he's like our captain is this sergeant from a different division now, but like little guy, not very good, but like good guy, good like team guy, and doesn't say anything to anybody, like doesn't chirp, nothing. And so this bigger guy's like chopping him the whole like, and there's like no hitting or anything, right? Like, so this big guy's like chopping him, slashing him. This little guy, I'm like, the fuck? So I go up and tell him like, hey, like you're scared last year, like you want to do that? Like,
you can't do that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
like we'll just fight, let's fight, you know? And he's like, no. So the puck was in the corner, and he tries to like take me out, like bump me. So I just slew-footed him and like kind of speared him, and he goes down. And,
Sorry, you slew-footed him and speared him?
yeah, like just into the boards.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. Then if you only slew-foot him and spear him into the boards, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then
just a police game, right?
So then the puck got to the point. I think Haas shot it. Whistle goes. I get a penalty.
Yeah.
And this guy, this other guy in front, like another, like he's not small. He was like average size. But he's like cross-checking me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, kind of giving it to me, and I'm like, "Really? Like you're gonna stand like this is where this is the battle you're gonna have here?"
You're gonna go after this?
So he dropped his also then I literally hit him twice, and like he dropped, his face was leaking. And then the funniest thing though was that he was on vacation, like his next like work block, and they were actually going away, like him and his girlfriend or something. And his face was like he had to get stitches, like a bunch, like through his like. This was all mangled. His photos. I thought it was hilarious. But,
well, yeah, if you're gonna bite off more than you can chew, that's usually what happens, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
I think Nicole thought it was too funny.
That's I think it's funny. Sorry, Nicole.
Thank you.
That's funny. You get grown men in jerseys, and then people start taking liberties. You need people like Doug to do that, or else the little guy would have had to try and do it himself. And sometimes that doesn't always go that great.
No, it was two left jabs too, for the record.
Just jabs, eh?
Yeah.
Well, Doug, you could fight. So, Nicole, here's a cutting edge shed question. What was it like watching Doug fight in hockey? Did you get all excited about it? Because Doug did. He used to smile while he fought. I used to think it was so cool.
Right?
Everybody else would be like all mean mugging each other, like they were gonna kill each other, and they were so angry. And then Doug would be smiling and having fun and just chucking knuckles.
Yeah. I wouldn't really say I got like excited about it,
but you weren't worried.
I was never really worried either, just because I actually felt bad for the person he was fighting, because I like, what are you, nuts? Like going up against him? So I was more scared for the other person.
Right.
But his sister, Candace, loved it when her brothers fought, though. She would be telling them like, hey, like she would get fired up in the stands. But no, I think just seeing him play hockey in general, Wally, was like exciting enough. Right. If he was to drop his gloves, then it would be excitement. But
honestly though, when you look at it from the research team, you had hardly got to see him play hockey because he'd hardly played any games till he got to Cardiff, right? Like in the OHL, he didn't play that many games, and then like in Canadian University, he didn't play many, right? Like there weren't that many.
No, I only played 28 my whole college career, and that was in Nipissing. 3 universities, 1 season.
And that was a pretty big time to like be growing as a player where you were just taking the option, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was neat how good you could fight though.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. I just posted the thing where like Chris Frank, my buddy, like
Oh.
one of my best buddies that was manhandling me in front of the net. And then well, you just grabbed him and like you just gave him a 1-2 barbecue. And then that was that. You got him a little off balance. And I thought that was really neat that it looked so easy for you. Because he sure manhandled me. I couldn't do anything.
Well,
Was that when you had your first concussion? No, not your first concussion, but your concussion in Cardiff?
yeah, that was he put me out like right before that. He hit me behind the net
Yeah.
and like jumped and like I literally was out for like probably like 3-4 seconds.
Because I remember
And I
you,
got up and
you didn't even remember the fight.
no, I left the game after the fight. I left because I couldn't.
I
So, like,
do
he hit me
recall that
behind the
now
net.
that you say that. Yeah, I just saw
He
the
hit me behind
highlights of
the
the
net and, like,
fight. I
jumped and
remember you
elbowed me
saying
and-
that now, and you were like, "Yeah, I remember that story." And you're like, "Dude, I didn't even know we were doing it." That's wild.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just grabbed him. I was so pissed because I just woke up, got up, and then dusted him, and then I deleted the penalty box because the lights were killing me. So
Right. Yeah, he was tough to play against, that's for sure, because he was unpredictable. But
Yeah.
he's one of my best buddies from college, and I always was just so happy I never had to play against him in college. And then I had to, and it wasn't that much fun.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Poster pick. We speak of your big hands, Nicole, when he's holding Keeley in his hand,
Yeah.
like his hand is as big as her in those newborn photos. His hand's as big as the baby.
Yeah. Especially because, like I said,
Just like
earlier,
my mitts, right?
yeah. Yeah, and she was tiny. She was 6'12". Doug actually got to do skin on skin with her first because I ended up having an emergency C-section. And like those photos, like the nurse was just like, she's so tiny in your arms, like in your hands.
Yeah, gigantic hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that poster pic you sent where your hand literally covers it's wild. Next poster pic is, well, Keely's dressed as a football and Ted is a Minnesota Viking.
yeah.
So you're
That's
right.
probably, like, my
You're still
favorite
right
photo.
into football, eh?
Oh yeah, that's probably my favorite photo of her.
It is a good
It's so
photo.
funny to me that like she's like out cold and like laying on him, like,
And he's just okay with it.
oh yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just chilling, watching the door. And then that's actually my fantasy football logo. That picture.
Wow, it's a good photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the next one. You guys are in Manchester United outfits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you guys know I have ties to Manchester now?
Now.
I do. So I'm sponsoring the captain of the Manchester Storm, and he's going to be ripping around next season in a 2 Ales and Hockey Tales logo on his
Come
jersey.
on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
after
cool.
they win games, they throw chocolate on the ice because of talking in my shed.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's
man.
So
cool.
I'm a huge Manchester Storm fan now too.
There you go.
Yeah. So when I saw Manchester United, I was like, well, that's neat. I'm a Manchester Storm fan too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah. So why are you a Manchester United fan?
Just we're Hibs first from my dad being from Leith, and then United just
Well,
my
your godfather got you into it.
yeah, like my godfather's from Belfast, and they most of Belfast is United fans. It's from when Georgie Best went, and so back in the 60s, 50s, 60s. So all of Northern Ireland's usually United fans, and that's just kind of
So your history goes a little deeper than just the Manchester Storm captain coming to the shed. And then you're like, do you think if you win your next game, they'll throw chocolate? And then we talked about it. And then I sent it to the Storm and I said, share this right
this.
now. And then they did. And then they beat the Sheffield Steelers the next game. The captain who I was talking to went out there, mucked it up, fought, scored a goal, I think. They win the game, chocolate on the ice.
It was all the shed.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. Power of the shed.
Shed
Changing
boost.
the world.
Right? Yeah.
Good
It
for
is
you.
fun though, right?
Yeah.
Pretty neat that Manchester, England's throwing chocolate on the ice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Doug, you missed all my pregame speeches, though, eh? Like, you were gone for that season. You were in Dundee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw videos.
Did you see the videos?
I did see clips.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It got weird. It got
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, it did. Okay. What else do I got? Do you guys have any questions for me today? Well, I look at my notes and figure out a new question. Do you guys have any questions for me?
When are we seeing you?
Yeah.
Right. I thought Deese was coming here, and I thought you guys were gonna come around the same time, and then Deese pulled the shoot, and then Doug was transferring to Halton. I just never heard from him again. I don't know. He's in the suburbs now, right?
You know, you know what? I think we need to make some time to like see each other.
I would agree
Yeah.
with that. You know, I would agree with that. And next hockey season comes quick, and holy moly, when they start, it's gonna be wild for parents. So Zoe's in competitive gymnastics, and she wants to play hockey, and Colby's playing hockey, and I'm coaching. So
Yeah.
Wow,
she's
yeah.
gonna be something. You know, gonna be lots of time for the shed, right?
Wally, I remember when Zoe was born.
I know, it's bizarre, right?
And like I remember you having your first daughter daddy dance at our wedding.
Yeah, and she shat on Lisa.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a baby, and yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do remember the first dance, at your wedding, and that was actually the first night I met Kiefer, right? Who
Yeah.
he doesn't do podcasts yet, he says, but he says I'm doing a good job. So hopefully he says I do a good job again tonight, and then maybe he'll think about coming on even more, right?
Maybe.
Right? Because he seemed like a great guy that night, and people have asked me who the biggest competitor was I ever played against, and well, I would say that was him, and he's doing pretty good at the coaching thing, and I think the competitive fellas do good at that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He's a really great guy. Do you remember that we also have something in common, the two of us and Lisa and you? We share the same wedding anniversary,
Is it the same day?
June 13th.
So that was our wedding anniversary when we were at yours. I do that,
Yeah.
right? Right?
Yeah, we did.
Right.
Yep.
I knew that. I remember your wedding being a great time.
It was a
It
great
was a
time.
great time.
Great time.
Great party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird, right? Like the hockey world and how it works, and how this all works is you play a season, you become like family, and then there can be like, it's weird. Like you have that season or two, and then you stay tight with the people you were tight with, and then it just kind of the text messages, like what people are into, what they're doing, like you just don't have that much to write about, and then all of a sudden it kind of fizzles out. But I know as soon as we see each other, it'll be just like it was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We'll pick up where we left off.
We need to do it. I know we have a beach here. What's going on in Holt?
We don't really have a beach here.
Well, I think
the
the Citiettes come this way on weekends. Just kidding.
We'll look at our schedules. We'll try to figure out a date.
Yeah. And because you know what else happens though now, if you're in that area, is we come for hockey tournaments now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We do that. And that's a good time to reconnect too, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So Do I have anything else? Okay, I got one last question that all the Devils fans have been dying to hear. Nicole, have you ever been to Chippy Lane? Do you know what it is?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yes. What would you
Yes.
order if you went back today?
Chips, cheese, and gravy.
Really?
Yeah, probably with a deep fried sausage.
It's not your first time, so you do know what it is. I'm just kidding. I remember being at O'Neill's with you, and then I remember Dougie's friends from home coming, and we were at O'Neill's. And what's weird, what I like about hockey is getting to know people's parents, siblings, friends that come over, and like getting to know who they actually are. And I enjoyed that right at the start of that season. Dougie had some fellas come over, right?
Mhm. Yeah, there was. Yeah, two of them came out. I think Mike and Doug came out. Or Doug came out first, I think.
Doug came out. Mike came out in Telford.
Oh, and Telford. Doug came out in Perry.
Adam and Donna came.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
I got issues with my brain, right? And when I meet people and then I get to know people, it's I don't know, it just makes me feel like they're part of my hockey family, right? That's all.
Yeah.
So Doug, what would you be ordering?
From Chippy Lane?
Yeah.
Probably fish and chips, or the chips, cheese, and gravy I always like too.
Fish?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you're the first
Halibut or haddock.
fish and chip guy going on that road.
Really?
Yeah, there hasn't been much fish and chips going on there.
We used to go to, well, in Dundee, we had Clark's Bakery.
Yeah.
Just down the street. It was kind of like the Chippy, but it was down the street from our house in Dundee, and it was a bakery. Yeah, it was phenomenal. Same thing though. You get like Scotch pie and chips, cheese, and gravy, and
Scotch pie.
yeah.
What's a Scotch pie?
Those here. It's just like a meat pie, but it's that I forgot what the meat they call it. French
No.
one too.
Well, now I'm hungry.
Yeah, it's like minced meat pie,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
but
I'm into it. I'd be way more into that than a deep fried Mars bar with you, whatever the hell that was. That was disgusting.
You know what's interesting is I've never tried one.
Yeah, don't bother.
they're good.
No, it's
People
not.
like them. If people
don't like them. If it was a thing around the world, people like them. They actually go there just to like feel like part of the club. Yeah. Well, I don't know what else I got other than I love my shed and I love getting to catch up with my shed family. And you guys are part of the family. And I can't wait to see you in person. That's all. You know?
That's too, man. Let's
I want to meet your daughter.
Yeah, to come see you.
Oh, you're gonna love her, Wally.
Oh, I know. Genes are a thing, they say. And I know, like, I was at your wedding. I know who made you guys, and they were my cup of tea, and you guys make her. Yeah, we're gonna be on the same page. Right?
Correct.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah. No, and I when we went to Gozo and did all that stuff together and all the other times those seasons we had fun. Like Nicole, you always took the time to be with Colby and Zoe whenever we needed you. You were a babysitter and you were awesome at it. I knew you guys were gonna be great parents, and I'm just thrilled you guys are now. And I can't wait to meet her. You know?
Yeah, I think it helped with the experience of having at the time we had 6 nieces and nephews. Now we have 10.
Jeepers. Those people are breeding, eh? In your family.
Oh yeah.
No, but seriously, very proud of you guys that you guys look like you got her all figured out and sorted out. And I know getting out of the game is not always that easy. And people may think we sound silly and childish when we say it's not easy getting out of the game, because we got to play a game for so long and blah, blah, blah. Well, all of a sudden you're 30 years old and all those guys that thought it was cool you were playing hockey, all of a sudden you're starting over and they all have their stuff set up and you're trying to figure it out, right?
Oh yeah, when you're sore and your back's sore and your knees are sore, and concussions.
Yeah, bit battered.
Oh yeah,
It's because I tried to protect you as best I could, Doug.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. But seriously, I can't wait to see you guys. And it was great seeing you tonight. And this
Thank
is
you,
why I
Paul.
love this so much. And I get so jacked up when I get to see like close friends again. And this has been an exciting day. And thanks for making my Wednesday better, eh?
Thanks for
No
having us,
problem.
buddy.
Thanks for having me. This is like my first time. I was so excited.
Oh, you're always invited. Shed Gal. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with the Clarkies and Wally.